What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Blazers Uprise post-game show. Today, your Portland Trail Blazers lose to the Boston Celtics 125 to 116, 129 to 116 as the Celtics shoot the three ball well. The Blazers also shoot the three ball well. The Celtics shoot even better as they torch the Blazers defense. The Blazers fall to 32-40 on the season. We're going to break down the game. We're going to talk about individual players, of course, all that good stuff. Also, we will have some Eric thoughts on Chauncey's postgame press conference. I don't know what they're going to be. I didn't hear Chauncey's postgame press conference yet, so we're in for a little surprise. And we like a little surprise. But the Blazers play decent. Not good enough to beat a team that has a good roster, man. But also, they were missing 3 starters, and we know teams missing starters doesn't really seem to matter against the Blazers. Hopefully you guys had a good weekend. Hopefully you guys are having a good Sunday. Eric, what's going on, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. The Chauncey comments have to do with something you just said, if you want me to jump right into it.
Let's save it. Let's save
Okay.
it. Little tease there. We'll save it. We'll talk about that. But first, just give me your initial thoughts on this game.
Celtics are just a horrible matchup for us. The 5-out, we don't know how to defend it.
Yeah.
As do a lot of teams, to be fair. Like most teams have a problem with the Celtics, obviously, coming off a championship. And they just have a lot of guys that can play, man. And they all know their roles, and they all perform when called upon. It doesn't matter necessarily who's in the lineup. Now, like when you get deep into the playoffs, but for right now, during the regular season, as long as they have a couple of key guys like Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, and Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and you mix in whatever else bench players, Baylor Shireman hit some threes in this game, it doesn't really matter who's playing as long as those guys come in and do their job. And Portland got lost several times. The rotations were pretty bad for good parts of this game. And when you do that against a team like the Celtics, you're just going to have a tough time. Tough time beating them. Even when you shoot 40% from 3, almost 50% from the field, and shoot the ball pretty well yourselves, it's still not even close to enough to beating a team like Boston when you're not covering enough of the 3-point line.
Yeah, man, you give up 23 threes. This is a good shooting night for this Blazer team. They also got 48 points in the paint, but just failed to cover the 3-point line. I also have a problem with when you're playing a 5-out offense, you should be able to rebound the ball on the defensive glass, but you give up 11 offensive rebounds. I don't know where the Celtics rank in terms of offensive rebounding, but not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. I appreciate that.
One thing I noticed in that regard was so everyone knows if you shoot threes, the chances of a longer rebound are greater.
Yeah.
And I noticed the Blazers all pounding in towards the glass, and then the ball would go over all their heads, and there'd be no one there. The perfect example was that one that bounced out to Tatum.
Yeah.
And he just stood there and watched the ball bounce out to him. But the Blazers were over pursuing towards the glass on all these 3-point attempts instead of just boxing out and staying where you're at. Yeah. And if you get a body on each person, whether they're at the 3-point line or inside or whatever, you're going to get a majority of the rebounds. So running in towards the basket was improper technique by the Blazers, I thought, in this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you box out. You don't just turn, stare at the rim, and wait for the ball to come off and walk to the rim, because rebounds go over your head, especially on long shots. That's a great point. And the Blazers just struggled boxing out in this one. You would like for them to win the offensive rebound battle. They should win the offensive rebound battle in most games. That's something that they do well. But this game was just the Blazers not really living up to their identity, I feel like. They kept it close because they shot the 3-ball well, and they've been shooting the 3-ball well, which is a really good thing. You have 4 for 7 from 3 for Tamani Kamara. You have 1 for 2 from Banton, 2 for 4 from Thibault. Duop Reith made both the threes he shot. And any game where the Blazers can shoot above 40% from three, I feel like they can be competitive against most teams unless they just don't play good defense and don't out-rebound teams on the offensive glass. And that was the recipe for tonight. Boston hit 4 more threes, but also they were really efficient inside the arc as well, because a lot of analysis will just look at, they made 4 more threes, that's 12 more points, you lost by 13, right? But you gave up a really, really good percentage inside the arc. The Celtics were 25 for 38 inside the arc. I don't know what the percentage is on that, but it's really good for them. Really bad for Portland. You got to find a way to cut off some of the dribble penetration, and the Blazers just really struggled in all facets of their defense today. Now, Boston is the type of team that'll make you struggle, and them going 5 out, the Blazers don't have to guard it. That's the thing. They space you out. They swing the ball. They're either going to shoot a three or they're just going to attack your closeout and get downhill and either finish or make the next pass. That's why they're super efficient. It's just been a bit disheartening because this is exactly what it looked like in Boston when they were missing Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday and Porzingis and all the players they were missing in that first game, because it was literally just Derek White and Peyton Pritchard are going to hit, 19 threes or whatever they combined for in that game. And the Blazers weren't doing a good job running them off the line. And also you let them get some stuff inside the arc in that game, and this just felt like a carbon copy with Jason Tatum healthy. It just felt like a carbon copy, Eric, and that's a little disappointing to me. You just played this team recently, right? Mix it up defensively, at least throw a wrinkle at them. I know it might not work because they're a really good team, so, if you try and you fail, all right, fine. But it just felt like the same sort of defense that we played against Derek White and Peyton Pritchard a couple of weeks ago, where we're overhelping one pass away off of shooters, they make the next pass and they hit a three, or we're just kind of, overreacting to drives a little bit and closing out so hard that they can just sidestep three. And it just felt very, very similar, and that was a little disappointing to me because I wanted this team to come out, of course, and win this game. It would have been a huge win for the play-in race that this team is in, but this was literally just a carbon copy of last game with better names, healthier players on the other side of the floor this time.
Right? Yeah, just Tatum and Brown swap those two out same game.
Yeah, that's who they missed was Tatum, not Brown last game. Yep.
Yeah. So 25 and 38 is 65.8%. They shot from 2-point land. And looked up their offensive rebounding. They're middle of the pack, 15th. Looks like they're maybe tied for 14th. So they're an average offensive rebounding team.
Team shoots that well. The Blazers should not be giving up 11 offensive boards.
Right.
In my opinion, I think that's still below average for your average team. So it's not really as much of an issue. It's just normally if you're Portland, you want to win that battle. Portland is one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league. So you can't do that. You don't play defense. You don't guard the rim. You don't guard the three-point line. It doesn't matter how hot you shoot. You're not going to beat a really good team. So.
Yep. Especially one that makes you pay for that with like the Celtics do.
Yep. Absolutely. Let's get into your all right, let's talk about, so there was comments in the post-game press conference that you took umbrage with.
Not necessarily umbrage. It's just I'm interested to see what you have to say about this.
Yeah, and interested to see what Chat has to say too. Chat, give your reactions to this.
I'm sure some of you saw this, but so Chauncey started off his press conference by answering a question saying, you said they played pretty good, right, Tori? Yeah.
They played pretty good. I think Boston is just a far better team, so you lose by 13.
That's pretty much what Chauncey said. He said, we played good. I'm really happy with the way we played. They're just better than we are, and that's an NBA championship team. And we played good. I'm really proud of our guys. They all did their job, but we just played a better team. That's what he said.
I mean, he's not lying. He's
not
lying.
But it's also
I'll say this. what he's saying is not wrong, is not incorrect, okay? They obviously are a better team even when they're missing 3 players. Jason Tatum is better than anybody on the Blazers. I mean, honestly, Peyton Pritchard, with how good of a year he's having this year, might be better than anyone on the Blazers as well, unfortunately, right? Derek White might be better than anyone on the Blazers. Like, they got some dudes. This is why they won a championship. So they can afford to miss 3 starters. They're still a good roster. So he's right. He's not lying, but I also don't like that having that attitude.
Yeah. That's
how
exactly how I felt.
Yeah, it's you. If you're supposed to be a good defense, I feel like good defenses don't give up 54% shooting from the field and give up 129 to a team where they can just get whatever they want all game and then just sit there and say, you know what, really happy, played well, blah, blah, blah. Like, good defenses don't say that. And it seems like at times this team is ready to start performing like a top 10 defense, and we've seen some stretches where they've played some really good defense, and I think they're capable of being a borderline top 10 defense. But on a night like this, it's like you got to have the attitude that you're a top 10 defense, and if you get absolutely smoked and you're holding yourself to that standard, you don't come in here in the post-game press conference and say you're happy, right? So I just have an issue with that attitude coming from the coach, because at times this team has started to like kind of view themselves, it seems, as a top 10 defense, just based on some of the comments about how they want to be that team that's hard to play against, right? At the start of the year, we always hear these comments about, you know, we got dogs and we want to be that high-energy team. We want to be that team that defends, that you're not going to have an easy night against. And then a team has an easy night against, and it's like, well, yeah, they're just better. It's just, I'm not a fan of the attitude, even though what he said is correct.
Yeah, see, to me, there was just way too many falling asleep breakdowns on defense when you have to be locked in against a 5-out team. And so I completely agree. Like, I understand what he's saying is correct, like you mentioned. But to me, I would say I thought we played, decent. It's just you can't miss as many rotations, or like you can't have as many defensive breakdowns as we did and expect to beat a championship level team like that. Not, oh, well, we play good, they're just a better team. Because that means you're basically admitting that any team you play that's better than you, no matter how you play, it doesn't matter because they're a better team, basically, right? So it's almost like a defeatist attitude when you're playing a better team.
Yeah, I fully agree. Especially when you're in a play-in race. Like, if this is the start of the season, you didn't have high expectations, that'd be one thing. But you're in a play-in race, and you got to win some of these games, and you keep getting these breaks where you're playing good teams, missing their best player. Like, the Blazers have not beat a team... Who'd they beat last game again? I'm completely blanking. They
Nuggets.
Yeah, and the Nuggets didn't have Jokic, right? And the team before that was... Why am I blanking on our schedule like this? This is bad. This is Sunday thinking. Who'd they play the game before last?
The Wizards?
No, it was a good team. They beat a good team. Grizzlies.
Yeah.
They didn't have John Morant.
Yeah.
When was the last time the Blazers beat an above 500 team that wasn't missing their best player? Right? It's been forever. You know what I mean?
I mean, they haven't played a good team without their
exactly.
player forever
That's
either.
entirely my point. My point. Sorry, I forgot the schedule, but my point is this team keeps getting breaks. This team has an extremely tough schedule in March, but they are continuously playing teams missing their best player. That was not the case tonight. The Celtics had Jason Tatum, and at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, see, we're just not good enough to beat him. It's like, all right, if you're going to have a defeatist attitude, you might as well just start tanking. You might as well have started tanking a while ago, because looking at this upcoming schedule, you should have felt there was no chance at a play-in given all the hard opponents you faced. Now, you got lucky being able to play some of these teams missing their best players. The Blazers do not beat above 500 teams with their best players. I think the since Dame's return game, I think the only game that applies is Indiana, right? Maybe the Kings right after the trade deadline. I don't know. Occasionally you can, but this team has beaten teams that are worse than them, and they've lost to teams that are better than them, right? And that's basically what it is like this team is not playing up to the level to potentially be a good team that's not missing their best player. And that's kind of the problem is you have this really tough stretch through the rest of March where you're probably going to have to win a game like that. Unless you keep getting lucky with other teams resting their best players. So I don't really like being resigned to, we can't beat any good teams who have their best player because they're just better than us. I don't really like that attitude. Yes, it's true. It's true. I mean, that's just the way things have gone for the past month and a half, 2 months. Maybe you could say the entire season for the most part. But you shouldn't be accepting of that. The Blazers could have played better defense today. I've seen games where the Blazers played better defense than this. And in order to be competitive in these games, you have to be at your peak defensively. And they weren't, which is fine. I don't think they necessarily played terrible defense. They've certainly had worse defensive games than this. And certainly it is a tough opponent. All those things can be true. But man, you should be holding this defense to a high standard. You should be holding this defense to a top 10 in the league standard, where if they don't meet that on any given night, it's not something to be happy about.
Yep. But then he went on to say that all the fans should be happy with the way the Blazers are playing and leaving it all out on the floor and their energy level and all that stuff.
He can feel that way, but
yeah.
I mean, fans will be happy with whatever they want to be happy with. Some probably are. Some probably are. And some people are probably frustrated that you had a chance at home against a good team, but a team missing 3 starters, and you had a chance to gain ground in the play-in race, and you lost ground.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at what point is it just going to be, let's stop celebrating moral losses, you know? We lost by 13. We were 7.5-point underdogs. So we didn't even beat the spread. Okay? It's just funny because it feels like this team, when things are going well, the attitude is like they're ready to take the next step, and then when it comes to what they need to do to take the next step, they don't do it, and then they sit there and say like, yeah, it's fine, we should be happy.
They're just better than us, even though they were missing 3 of their starters.
Yeah,
we were missing Ayton, though. What are we supposed to do?
Yeah. It's just off. Like, there were some things that went bad in this game. And, yeah, you didn't play terrible. Yeah, they're a better team. But if you want to sit there and act like you're ready to take the next step when things are going good, then when you lose by 13 to a team missing 3 out of 5 starters, you shouldn't just sit there and say, everybody should be happy. It just doesn't really make sense. Doesn't really line up to me.
Especially if we get stuck in that middle ground between not making the play-in and being too good to get a high lottery pick.
Yeah, I mean, if they were competitive in this game and barely lost and fought hard, sure. I get it. You know, if they were like the Gonzaga Bulldogs from yesterday, you know what I mean? Who fought tooth and nail to give themselves a single chance at the end of that game against a team that was better than them. Okay, sure. If it was like that, sure.
You just lost to a better team.
Yeah, just lost to a better team, man. All right, let's break down this game. What do you want to start with? I don't know, team play, individual players.
I want to talk about something I was arguing with someone on Twitter about. It's something
boy.
that we had this discussion. I forget if it was last stream or the stream before that.
Yeah.
When we called out the people who don't understand the way Klingan plays defense.
Yeah.
And so I saw on Twitter, Blaze the Nugs in here in chat right now, arguing with one of your favorite tweeters, Tori, who said, not Blaze the Nugs, the guy he was arguing with, said that Klingan has only had 5 good closeouts the entire season, and
What?
said he closes out improperly like 80% of the time, just making up stats about it.
Yeah, you got to make up stats, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I think we have to address this again because multiple things can be true. This is a very, very difficult matchup for a drop big, especially a rookie who doesn't necessarily isn't completely locked in terms of development like what he's supposed to do against a team like this, and it's still a learning curve for him to play, because in college you can park a guy like Klingan in the paint and he never has to leave the paint the entire game. So like not being able to play zone at all, not being able to just stay in the paint and have other players be involved in pick and roll. Like you can't force a big to be involved in pick and roll in college because he doesn't have to come out. It's a bad matchup. He has to learn how to play though. Like he's got to be able to do it. And I'll say the same things I said last time. These were my concerns about Klingan. So I get why people think that way when they see a drop center. But to say that Klingan has been terrible and most of the time closes out poorly is such a gross mischaracterization of this entire season. He has actually been really good at it. It just gets magnified how tough it is in a game like this. And I would guarantee if we went back and looked at all the footage, there are more instances of him doing the right thing and closing out well or forcing a tough shot than there are of him screwing up and being a problem on defense. And to most people who want to criticize him, they see the opposite. And this is coming from someone who thought this would be the reason why we should not take him with the 7th pick, that this is the reason why he's going to struggle in the NBA. I thought it would be much worse for Zach Edey. So if we're comparing those two, Klingan's done an amazing job compared to what Edey's gotten played off the floor way more often than Klingan has this season against pretty much every team, not just 5-out teams. So to me, this is coming from someone who was purposely looking for Klingan to struggle at that, so I could say that's the reason why I wasn't high on him in the draft. But I can't lie and say that has been an issue all season when he has done a really good job, a much better job than I thought he would do as a freaking rookie. And he has actually made it really tough on shooters with his length. He's really big, so even if he's dropping, it's really hard for shooters to get their shot over him. And I don't know if the stat still holds up, but at one point he had forced the most mid-range shots, so teams were not getting to the rim on him, and they were not shooting a ton of threes on him. Now, maybe they've adjusted since that stat came out a month ago or so, but the facts are he has actually been doing a really good job. Now, occasionally, does he bite on a pump fake and foul a three-point shooter? He's done that several times this season. That's bad. You got to clean that up. Does he run a closeout sometimes?
This whole team does.
Yeah,
this whole team does.
Person. Welcome to the freaking NBA, right?
You know what's funny is when Matisse Thybulle flies at a pump fake trying to block a three, and nobody says anything. Nobody says anything.
I watched Baylor Shireman. I forgot who shot the three. It might have been, I forgot who it was, but someone on the Blazers got an open three, and he closed out, and he just ran right by him and ran to half court and just stood there. He didn't even try to contest the shot. part of the problem is Klingan's trying to learn what shots he can block and where he can jump from and not jump into the shooter. And when you have crafty players like Tatum or whatever, they're going to bait him into some of those, and it's going to happen sometimes. But Tamani he's our best defender by far. He's fouled multiple 3-point shots this season too. Like, it happens. So like, and once again, he's a freaking rookie trying to learn a system that he's never played before. So, and to be fair to him also, we're running drop schemes still against the Boston Celtics. It's not his fault we're running drop, like, with him in the game. And so it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't get like why we're so focused on him being the problem. Like, and I mean, looking at the box score, Tori, I know it's just one game and this is stupid and we don't do this very often. But do you know who the one plus minus positive was today?
I mean, just based off the way you set it up, I'm going to assume.
Yeah. Yep. Donovan Klingan. Yeah. +4. Everyone else was a negative. So, I mean, was he really that big of a problem tonight to warrant saying this is why he's unplayable against teams like the Celtics or whatever? Like, yes, he played like crap. Like, I'm not saying he had a good game or anything. Like, he did not do good at all. But, like...
Yeah, this is just... Listen. The people, unfortunately, when they have narratives, they will watch games waiting for anything to confirm that narrative, and then they'll over-exaggerate that in a way to justify their narrative. That's how a lot of people watch sports, unfortunately. Right? So, that's what you get. Like, I'm assuming the person you're referencing, they're an Aiden fan. Now, I've seen DeAndre Ayton just refuse to close out multiple times this season, but they won't call that out. They'll say, see, this is why we need Ayton back, because that's their narrative. That's what they believe. They want something to justify that, right?
He doesn't close out at all, Ayton. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, like, people have these preconceived notions about Klingan. They're going to analyze him based on anything that justifies those preconceived notions, and they're going to ignore stuff to the contrary. And it's basically bias for one's own opinion. It's bias for one's opinion. So, 5 out, this whole team struggled to guard this Celtics team. It's a tough matchup for Klingan. There's times where he's going to make some mistakes. It's kind of silly to me that people expect rookie Donovan Klingan to be perfect on closeouts defending a 5-out lineup against the defending champs. That's silly. That is very, very silly to me.
And other than Shireman, like, all like veteran players that know what they're doing.
Yeah. Extremely silly to me. So, I don't like that. Anyway, don't get baited by YouTube comments.
I know.
But it's just people trying to bait you, saying dumb stuff in the chat. It's normal. Yeah. He had a couple
case in point right there, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just ridiculous. That's just blatant trolling and baiting, though. Which, whatever. So, he had a couple of nice finishes in this game. It's funny that with him on the floor, the Blazers outscored the Celtics, and he's the point of critique for people. Like, he didn't even rebound well. He only had one defensive rebound, but it's funny how, I don't know how many points the Celtics scored in those 20 minutes, but I bet you it's at a lower rate than the 28 minutes Donovan Klingan was out of the game, considering the Blazers outscored him by 4 with Donovan Klingan in the game. And so that's just silly to me that's the defensive problem. That, out of all things in this game, that is the defensive problem. It's crazy.
In our group chat, there was that play where, I think it was Denny tried to throw him a pass, and it got deflected before it got to Klingan. And that was the only play in the first quarter where it was even questionable whether, like, Klingan's hands came into question or whatever. Yeah. And I saw, oh man, Klingan just can't catch a pass. Like, like he has horrible hands. He's never going to be able to be. And it's like, well, the pass got deflected before it even got to his hands. Like, how is that?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
How is that on Klingan? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand, Tori, why. And you guys know, like, I'm not necessarily saying Klingan's the answer, like, completely, like, 100% guaranteed or anything like that. But I mean, it's just crazy how people criticize him for things that aren't necessarily his fault sometimes.
It's always the case with these wild narratives from fans at this point in the season. I don't know why. I don't know what happens in March for Blazer fans, man, but you start to hear some wild stuff this time of year from fans. It's just it's funny. I don't know. Maybe it's finally getting out of hibernation cuz spring is here. So, waking up from hibernation, I don't know. But yeah, I kind of predicted this. At some point this season, fans are going to start to get annoyed with any of Klingan's imperfections. And they're going to start being really hard on him. And that is exactly what we're seeing right now, where they were excited when they got him. And when he started playing, it was like, ooh, look at that block, man. It's fun. He's new. But the honeymoon phase has officially worn off with a lot of fans for Donovan Klingan, and now it's just all criticism and finding anything that justifies that criticism, and yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, that is not the guy you should be singling out for criticism in today's game.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to single him out for not rebounding or whatever, that's one thing, but yeah.
But, like, he's been great on the boards. He's been great on the boards all season long. So it's like he has a game where he struggles to rebound. Okay, fine. He's been great on the boards all season long. Like, okay, cool. The rookie is not going to be perfectly consistent. You know? So it's like, chill. Relax. And that's me. That's me of all people saying it. Relax.
Kenny D in chat says, Klingan kind of reminds me of Rudy Gobert. To be honest, I do think we need a backup big for Klingan that can guard 5-out lineups, but Klingan will be fine. Yeah, that's a fair assessment. Like, if you want to say Klingan can't be, your backup can't be a Klingan type center that plays the same way, I completely agree with you. It would be nice to have a switchable center that can guard a little bit better on the perimeter. So yeah, I agree. That's fair. I mean, if we got someone better than Klingan and he's our starting center and then Klingan's our backup, that's fine too. It's going to be hard to do, but yeah, I'm completely okay with that approach to the lineup, and that should be how they build their roster.
Yep. We got Colorado State
down to
16
with 18 seconds.
I think I'm a couple seconds behind you. We'll see what they can do. I'll commentate it.
Call the timeout with 11.4 seconds.
Yeah, I think I'm a couple seconds behind you, unfortunately, but we'll see. We'll see what they can do, man. We'll see what they can do. I'm rooting for Colorado State here.
Yeah, Maryland couldn't get a good shot off. Had to take a tough desperation 3 at the shot clock buzzer. But one of the Maryland players fought for the rebound, got a foul called on the rebound.
Dude, all right, fine. I'll bite on the bait because it's Matt Cardle, and he always has ridiculous stuff to say. I'll bite during this timeout. Most of the NBA is 4 to 5 out mobile. He's going to be played off the court almost every game. Bro, he's played multiple games where the Blazers have won where he's played at least 30 minutes recently. What do you mean almost every game he's going to be played off the floor? Like, you're just saying things. You're literally just saying things. He is no worse defending the perimeter than DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton, more than half the time, I swear, just has no interest in actually going out and defending on the perimeter. He won't, like, there's so many times where I've sat here on postgame shows frustrated because he won't even put a hand up on shooters. He won't even try. But somehow, like, oh, he's theoretically a perimeter defender because he's more mobile. So he can defend the perimeter. He won't get played off the floor, even though he just decides not to defend on the perimeter. And then Klingan, theoretically, is more of a less athletic big, not as quick, so he can't. And basically, you're just basing these players off the idea of what they should be, not actually what they are, and that's the problem here. That's the problem here. Why are you so infatuated with Ayton? I didn't even mention him. It's to prove a point. If you didn't get the point, that's fine.
How often does Ayton block a jump shot or a 3-point shot?
Yeah. Klingan's blocked more of them. How's that possible if he can't defend on the perimeter?
Oh, going for the win?
Oh, don't spoil it. Oh, he hit it!
6 seconds left.
Oh, he hit it with 6 seconds left.
3.6. Holy crap.
Oh, man, you are ahead of me. What a shot.
I
know, you didn't react to that. That was, I'll give you props for not reacting to that, but Colorado State just hit a 3 to go up 1 with 6 seconds left. And now Maryland has the ball, 3.6 seconds remaining. I got a parlay on the line. This is my first leg. My second leg is Iowa State minus 5.5, and they're down like 12 or 11 at halftime, so I'm probably cooked. But I also did have Colorado State in my bracket, winning 2 games. So hopefully we're on the same page. What a shot, man! Colorado State is special.
Now I know this guy is trolling because he just said, I hope we can get a guy like Ryan Kalkbrenner in the second round. I think he'll be better than Klingan or any stretch big.
Yeah.
You don't think?
See, I told you. I told you. No. I told you he's trolling and not to take the bait. And now you just realized he is trolling and you're still going to take the bait.
I know he's trolling. Okay.
Don't do it. Yeah. Why play into the... Eric empowers these people, chat.
But here's the problem with what like Matt Cardell's saying and what this other guy is saying is that it's never like, oh, well, he's going to struggle against some teams like the Celtics or whatever. It's a tough matchup. Like, we're going to have to figure out how to avoid that in the future. Yeah. It's always like, oh, he sucks. He's never going to be good because of this game, like.
Yeah. That's why nobody takes... If you talk like that, nobody's going to take you seriously. You're just ignoring any nuance. It's what I always say. Everything's either the best or the worst, black or white. Somebody's great or somebody sucks. Somebody will be able to play against every team or will be played off the court in every game. Mm-hmm. Like, let's calm down with that, man. Let's calm down with that.
And I don't list an exact same style of big too.
yeah. And if you want to criticize Klingan for not being capable yet of punishing smaller defenders on switches and that sort of thing, like, sure, that's a legit critique.
Yeah.
That's a legit critique. But he's a rookie, and he wasn't somebody that we looked at as, oh, he should be an offensive, maestro coming into the league. No, he was drafted for his defense. His offense is a work in progress. So, like, yeah, that's something he has to get better on. I'll absolutely sit there and agree with that. But it's also fine. He's a rookie. He can get better at that. That wasn't something he was drafted for. So, all right, we got Maryland inbound the ball with 3 seconds. We got Derek Queen going to drive left. Little fadeaway is good at the buzzer.
Oh, my God. Derek Queen. Wow. That was an incredible shot, Tori.
Finally got a March Madness buzzer beater.
Man, I feel bad for Colorado State. They're a good freaking team.
You know what's funny? I heard my girlfriend react in the other room like 5 seconds before me. So I knew he was going to hit it. She's been into the tournament, man. Yeah, she's in a bracket pool. Yeah. I've brainwashed her, so into being a bracket head. Bracket head like me. I do have a little money on Maryland making the Final Four. Damn, there goes one of my parlays, man.
Well, you weren't going to win the other part, you said, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't looking good.
But I also picked Colorado State in my bracket, man. My upset picks just... What a shot.
I mean, it's hard to say you, picked wrong there. It's just, it could have gone either way.
A running one-legged, off his right leg, too.
Yeah.
Bank shot.
From the side, that's tough.
That's so tough. They're going to put 0.1 back on the clock, which means you have to tip it, and you can't advance it in college basketball. So, yeah, this game is over. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I love the fan reactions,
Yeah.
either like going crazy or disappointed.
What a shot.
Wow.
That's heartbreaking.
Dude, a guy at that size that can create a shot like that, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. What a game. All right. Well, Maryland beats Colorado State. All right, back to the Blazers. All right, anyway, moving on with the Klingan, past the Klingan conversation. Okay. Shane Sharp, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 9 for 16 from the field, 3 for 9 from 3. He gets 9 to 10 threes up a game, I guess. You know? He gets up a ton of threes. So does Scoot. Scoot was 2 for 8 from 3.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on Sharp tonight, though? Because he was 6 for 7 inside the arc. He looked
I
really good
know.
when he got downhill.
Yeah, dude, I was like, dude, drive. Like,
Yeah.
I kept telling him to
Yeah.
drive. Like, I know he's not listening to me, but like I kept telling my TV. Like,
Yeah, because more than half of his shots were threes.
yeah, and he kept like, dude, he was cooking them, and had those sweet finishes, man. That reverse lay-in, the switching of the hands sometimes. Like, dude, he's finishing so well, man, and he was getting to the rim this game. Um, they were coming out on him on the 3-point shot for the most part. Um, but yeah, I thought it was a pretty good game. Outside of I mean, if he makes one more three, he's 4 for 9, and it looks pretty good. But I thought he played fairly well tonight.
Yep. Yep. Um, all right, talk about whoever else you want to talk about. I'll be back in a couple minutes.
All right, Tamani. I thought Tamani had a pretty good game as well. Obviously, 4 for 7 from three. Had the three threes early in this game. 7 of 13 overall. 19 points. It's just when you have a team that's so good about moving the ball around the perimeter, it does kind of take away his effectiveness when he's not tasked with like stopping one person in particular. So it's a tough matchup for a defensive player like Kamara, but I thought he had a pretty solid game. I didn't get a good look at that charge block call or the charge that they called a block in the first half. I don't know if anyone else saw a replay of it. I don't know if his foot was in the restricted area or not, but Chanty, I don't think he used a challenge in this game. So I thought that call, and then there was an out of bounds play, which I want to talk about they called it off Denny's leg that I thought right before the half that Chauncey should have challenged. But yeah, I thought too had a really good game. Him and Sharp, I think you can say that about. As far as Denny goes, plays 39 minutes in this game. Goes 6 of 16 from the field, so his first bad shooting game in a while. Not as efficient as he has been because he only got to the free throw line 3 times and only hit 2 out of 6 threes. Obviously, like we said last game, he's not going to hit 5 of 7 or 6 of 8 threes every game. So, got to kind of live with some of the games where he doesn't shoot as well, but still 33%. With the way he's been shooting lately, that's not a terrible game. Still contributed with 11 rebounds, 4 assists. I thought he played pretty well outside of maybe forcing a few shots. But we asked him to force some shots last game. He just wasn't making as many as he had been recently. But still, overall, pretty good game from him. And only 1 turnover. You like to see that as well. Let's see. Oh, God. Can we... That's what I get for looking and see what chat's saying. One Piece says 2's 3 is looking real smooth. Yeah, it really is. He should probably shoot some more. Yeah. let's see, who else should we talk about? Okay, Anthony Simons, I felt like didn't have a very good game. Ends up 6 of 13, 3 of 8 from three. So you look at those numbers, and it's not bad. But beginning of the second half, he missed 2 rotations or fell asleep on defense a couple times, and Chauncey had to call a timeout. Wasn't a good game on the defensive end for him. This should have been a game where he's okay defensively because, believe it or not, the 5 out is actually probably the best situation for him to guard because you're not getting isolated on screens against one person a lot, against a bigger player like, he struggles with. Yeah, I thought, he wasn't very aggressive on offense, has 3 turnovers, 5 assists, and I didn't think he played well on defense, on the defensive end, and that was a big reason why we struggled so hard to guard them on the perimeter.
Yep. All right.
I went through all the starters.
Cool. Scoot off the bench, 2 for 10, 2 for 8 from 3. Another rough shooting night. Did have 6 assists, 3 turnovers in 23 minutes. Was a -10. And, just hasn't quite looked as good as he did earlier in the season. Hopefully that'll turn around before the end. Before the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Thibault, man. 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 steals in 19 minutes. Was 5 for 7 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. I feel like
good once again.
I feel like with the way Thibault's come back, and with Scoot's struggles, Thibault might be starting to eat into Scoot's minutes. Now, they did give Jabari Walker 5 minutes, and they did give Chris Murray 5 minutes, so that's where the minutes for Thibault should come from right now. But Thibault was energetic today. Had some good moments, which is cool to see him back and healthy and playing well. He shot the 3 ball well since coming back. We know he can get hot for like a month, but it's never sustained, so maybe just the final month to the season for him that he returns is just going to be a hot shooting stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it shouldn't really hopefully not eat into Scoot's minutes. I think it's a good thing to let Scoot play through these struggles and figure out how he can be better. Now, some of it's just missing threes. I mean, he's 2 for 10 and 2 for 8 from 3, right? So he's mainly just shooting threes, and he's been in a little bit of a shooting slump. He was 33% from 3 this month before this game, which, he's 36% on the season. We're happy about it. It's not that big of a difference. And if he goes 3 for 8 today, he's 37% on the game, right? So we're kind of, I don't think it was like a terrible game. I just think, he's 2 for 8 from 3. Would have been nice to see him make a couple more shots, whether it's the couple shots inside the arc he shot or just another 3. But he did have 6 assists with 3 turnovers. The turnovers have crept up this month. The 6 assists is actually tied for his monthly high in assists, which is wild. It's just been kind of a weird month for Scoot where he's definitely struggled compared to January and February. But it's also not so bad that I'm worried.
Yeah. The only thing I'm worried about is just some of his body language seems a bit down. But other than that, yeah, his form still looks like it has been and all that. So, yeah, as much as I was concerned about Scoot earlier on, I kind of agree with you that I'm not as concerned as I used to be when he has bad stretches or bad games or whatever.
Yep. And that's pretty much everyone. Pretty much everyone that legitimately played in this game. You had Jabari Walker back, 2 for 2 from the field. Did not recreate his last game against the Celtics where he was 6 for 6 from 3.
Didn't get a chance to, really.
Yeah, Banton played 9 minutes, had 5 points, made a 3. Right now the Blazers just kind of have an 8-man rotation with Reith be in the center behind Klingan, and they play Jabari, Chris, and Delano sparingly. Sometimes they'll get 16 minutes, 18 minutes. Sometimes they'll get 5, like tonight. So that's the rest of your box score. To really summarize this game, it's why the Blazers aren't a play-in team, if that makes sense. Like, they just do not beat teams like the Celtics, even when they're missing guys. And the Celtics have lost 19 games this year, all right? Oh, defending champs, they're so amazing. They're 52-19. Yeah, that's really good. But they've lost 19 games this year. So it's not like they are completely unbeatable, right? And they were missing 3 starters. If they're healthy, all right, yeah, sure. They were missing 3 starters. They were missing 3 starters the last time the Blazers played them, including their best player. Against the Thunder were missing all 5 of their starters, and the Blazers lost by 18 because Aaron Wiggins goes off. You know what I mean? It's well-coached teams that have some depth. It doesn't matter if they're missing a bunch of starters. The Blazers just don't beat them. They just don't beat them. And at the end of the day, it's always like, yeah, that's a good team. That's a good team. And today it was, that's a team that's better than us. All right, man. But, you know, you're trying to catch the Suns. The Suns just played the Cavs at home, and the Suns beat them. Right? The Suns beat the Cavs at home. It wasn't, oh, the Cavs are just better than us, right? They're the best team in the East, battling for the best record in the league. The Suns in that game were actually bigger underdogs than the Blazers were in this game. But the Suns went out there and won. The Blazers in this game lost by 13 and said they were happy. So that's the difference between the team that's in the play-in spot and the team that's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unfortunately, the Kings lost last night, but the Suns and Mavericks, neither of them played yesterday or today, right?
Yeah, so tomorrow, on Monday, the Suns host the Bucks. They're 3.5-point favorites. Okay? The Kings host the Celtics. If the Celtics have the same injury report, it'll be interesting to see how the Kings do. I feel like the Kings are going to be more competitive in that game than Portland was. Now, they do catch the Celtics on the second night of a back-to-back, but
I think that's why some of their guys sat out tonight, because they're going to play tomorrow night.
Yeah. Well, if they are going to play tomorrow night, the Kings are only 4.5-point underdogs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I don't think catching the Kings is realistic. I think it's very possible the Blazers lose a game on the Suns tomorrow. The Mavericks also play the Nets. The Mavericks are actually 1.5-point favorites tomorrow. There is a very, very whoa, that's loud. Thank you. There is a very, very legitimate chance that the Blazers going into Tuesday's matchup against the Cavs are 3 games out of the play-in. Not only that, 3 games also out of 11th, because you'd have 2 teams tied for the play-in if you have the Mavs, who are favored, beat the Nets, and the Suns, who are favored, beat the Bucks. Right? And what did I say about until the end of April? The Blazers have to maintain touch with these teams. Right? They have to be within 2 games. If they're 3 games back, 4 games back, it's going to be nearly impossible for the Blazers to make it to the play-in. And yeah, you can be happy with this loss, but losses all are the same in terms of record. It's a loss on your record. And the Suns weren't happy to lose to Cleveland. Instead, they just went out and beat them. Now, the good news is you did gain some ground in the tank race. Chicago won yesterday against the Lakers. Buzelis had 31. And the Blazers gained ground on Miami, who won recently, broke their losing streak. And they gained ground on San Antonio, who have won 3 straight and won today. So the tank picture, Blazers still have a viable chance of getting up to 8. Let's take a look at that tank picture right now. Let me load it up. Man, this doesn't want to let me load. Here we go. All right. Here is the tanking picture for your Portland Trail Blazers. Tied with San Antonio. San Antonio's played 2 less games, so it's not a pure tie in terms of odds yet. But half a game out of 9th, a game and a half out of 8th, which is Miami. Miami just beat the Charlotte Hornets on Sunday. They will host Jimmy Butler and the Golden State Warriors on Tuesday. Jimmy Butler's return to Miami. I'm sure the Heat will get up for that game. So hopefully that's a game they can win because they did lose, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 games in a row. 10 games in a row before they beat the Hornets. So hopefully you got Golden State hosting Jimmy Butler. You got Atlanta, you got Philly, you got Washington. Hopefully Miami can win some of those games in case the Blazers continue to lose, because the Blazers have to be a healthy Cavs team on Tuesday. The Suns just did that. So if the Suns are going to win those types of games, Portland has to win those types of games too, and then some, if they want to catch them. So this loss just makes it does not look good for the play-in, Eric. It does not look good for the play-in. Yes, it was going to be a tough game to win. Mm-hmm. But so was Phoenix against Cleveland. That's really what I come back to. So you shouldn't, if you're setting your sights on that plan, you shouldn't just be happy with the loss. To me, saying they're just a better team and, we're happy with the way we played even though we lost by 13, that is basically to me saying, yeah, we are not a play-in caliber team and that's completely fine by us.
Yeah. Oh, it's tough because, you look at the schedule heading into this one before we knew how many players were out, and you say, oh, it's probably not a winnable game, so you just got to find those wins elsewhere. But then, to kind of act like, well, there's no way we're going to beat a team like Boston anyway. That kind of sucks when you're trying to win every game right now, and wins are crucial.
Yep. Sucks being 11th, man.
Mm-hmm.
Sucks being
12th.
11th in lottery.
11th lottery, 12th.
Yeah, it sucks.
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
it sucks. But they did gain ground in the tank picture. And, I said you needed to get one of Denver, Boston, Cleveland. With the way the Suns have been playing lately, you might need to get 2 of them. You got one against Denver. You lost one against Boston. Tuesday versus Cleveland. Important game. Then at Sacramento. Right? At Sacramento. Portland is 4 games behind them. Sacramento plays Boston tomorrow. And OKC on Tuesday. If Boston could lose both those games, very possible. It's Boston and OKC, and Portland can win. Portland would be 2.5 games back going into this matchup, and then if Portland wins, they're 1.5 back. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, let's assume one of those 3 games doesn't go our way. Portland would be 3.5 back. Winning this game would put them 2.5 back of Sacramento. Which might still be doable going into that game if you can beat Sacramento. But let's say Sacramento wins one of these 2 games and Portland loses to Cleveland and you're 4.5 back entering this game. I don't think winning makes a difference. You're still 3.5 back. And you're running out of games. So, is there anything you want to add to that picture, Eric?
No, you pretty much summed it up well.
Alrighty. We'll simulate it. We'll scroll up. See what we get. We got 14, Atlanta via Sacramento. 13, Houston via Phoenix. 12 is Dallas. Did I actually roll this? 11 is Portland. I don't know if I actually rolled this. Yeah, I didn't actually roll it. Weird. I swear I rolled it. All right. For real this time.
Or it just came out.
Nah, because it says the picks. See, watch. 14 is Atlanta via Sacramento. 13 is Houston via Phoenix. Yeah, see, it says the number. 12 is Dallas. 11 is your Portland Trail Blazers. 10 is Chicago moving down a spot, so San Antonio moves into the top 4. 9 is Miami. 8 is Toronto. 7 is New Orleans moving down 3 spots, so you also got Brooklyn moving up there. And I don't even know the other team. Philadelphia, actually. 6 is Charlotte, and 5 is Washington, so you also got Utah. Number 4 is the Brooklyn Nets. Number 3 is the Philadelphia 76ers. Number 2 is the San Antonio Spurs, which means the number 1 pick goes to the Utah Jazz.
Still not good, but
yeah, I'd throw up.
But Spurs gonna have the worst.
Yeah, man, that would disgust me. That would be disgusting. All right.
And let me just say, anyone that watches Cooper Flag play and does not believe he is 100% locked to be a star in the NBA, I don't think you're correct.
You disagree? Yeah, I disagree too. I disagree.
Just watch him play, dude. He's at that size to be able to handle the ball the way he does, to make plays, to create for others, to be able to score with both hands, and to be a elite level defender on top of that. There's just no chance outside of like a Greg Oden situation that he's not a really freaking good player in the NBA.
Yep. Alrighty. Anything else you want to recap from this game, man? I feel like there's just not much more for me to say when the coach comes out here and says we're happy with the way we lost.
Well, Calvin Lee asked, do you feel like the Blazers are downplaying these teams missing starters, or is it just Billups getting outcoached?
They're absolute like the team itself is taking these teams for granted. I don't think that's the case at all.
I mean, it's kind of normal to think that. I think that definitely has happened at times.
But like, you just lost to this team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you do that when you're in the middle of a stretch where you have to win games to stay in this play-in race and everyone wants to go for the play-in, obviously, that's pretty bad. I just think there's just... You mentioned is Billups getting outcoached. I think it's more that just because the Blazers, I mean, did it look like they changed anything defensively from the last time we played them and they abused us from the three-point line? And like I said, I know they're elite at getting their three-point shots, and they're really hard to rotate against because they make the right pass and everyone can shoot, and it's really tough to stop them for 24 seconds. But to not really do anything different when they just completely abused your defense the last time you played them is just crazy to me. And I think any good coach would have at least adjusted something against them defensively. And so it's kind of frustrating that we have a coach that doesn't.
Yeah, some guys need to give better individual defensive efforts, but I mean, bro, we switch into too many mismatches. And then we sit there and say, like, nothing we can do.
Yeah.
They just made a shot. All right? They hit the wings in transition extremely well. You have to be prepared for that. This team came out at the start of this game and was not prepared for that. Right? They got an open three on the wing and then hit Peyton Pritchard, and he just drove baseline against Shaedon Sharp, like that sort of stuff. You know, where you got to be prepared for that. You should be able to be prepared for that. You just played this team, and it's like sometimes the Blazers come out seemingly with a lack of prep for their opponent in terms of trying to take away what their opponent does well. And, yeah, listen, you contested a couple threes they made. But that's going to happen in the NBA, even against teams that aren't that great, right? The thing is when they got caught in rotation, it wasn't that great. But mainly, the most controllable thing is not getting Scoot Henderson and Anthony Simons stuck guarding Jason freaking Tatum. If you gave the Celtics a choice where every time down the court, they could have one of those two guys guarding Jason Tatum, they would take it every time. So why, defensively, are you going to continuously to allow that to happen? Right? You're giving them exactly what they want. You're giving them exactly what they want. And then you're not ready to take away what they like to do. Like, the Celtics aren't the fastest team, but they like to get the ball up to the wing. And if you don't defend that well, they will make you pay. They will make you pay. That's really the biggest thing for me, man, is just you got to be prepared to play your opponent. You got to be prepared to deal with what your opponent is good at offensively. But then, my goodness, stop switching into mismatches. There were so many Tatum buckets tonight where he's attacking Shaedon Sharpe or Scoot Henderson or Anthony Simons. Where you can even say on some of those possessions, those guys played good defense. Yeah, but they're not Tamani Kamara, so their good defense is not good enough. Tamani Kamara's is. On some possessions, maybe it's Tamani Kamara switching too easily. You got to find a way, if you're Tamani, to stay attached to somebody like a Jason Tatum. But it's funny because the Celtics built a lead. And took Tatum out of the game. The Blazers came back. Tatum comes back in the game. They take off again. You're not prepared to defend their best player. You know what I mean? You're not prepared. The thing is, Thibault didn't really do a good job either in that end. You know, everybody loves the way he gets steals and is so energetic. But, man, I would love to be able to sit here and say, yeah, he did a really good job defending a team star. That was kind of a problem last year. He just doesn't really do a great job. I mean, when Thibault got subbed into this game, near the end of the first quarter, with about a minute and a half left, or at least this is just the possession I'm talking about, a minute and a half left, he gets hit by a flare screen, struggles getting through it, and then bites on a Jason Tatum pump fake where he's just completely selling out to try and block a three. And Jason Tatum just walks into the lane and throws an alley-oop. And that's exactly what I was talking about earlier, where nobody talks about Matisse Thybulle's closeouts. It's only Donovan Klingan's. If Donovan Klingan did that, he would be getting roasted in the chat, roasted on Twitter, roasted everywhere. But Matisse Thybulle does it, nobody cares. And I do not understand it, Eric. I do not understand it at all. If you want to see the play I'm talking about, you can go to NBA.com, you can go to the box score, you can go review all their made shots. Okay? All their made shots. Alley-oop dunk for Luke Cornett, minute and a half left. That is a problem with Thibault. He sells out for blocks, sells out for steals. Right? And nobody talks about it. So. Do you know what play I'm talking about, Eric?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But if it's Klingan, it's, he can't defend the perimeter at all.
Yeah. Thibault's been pretty good.
He's been good.
Hasn't done a lot since he came back, so I'm trying not to harp too much on one play. But see, it's a team-wide thing, and that's why I don't like harping on specific players for it, because it goes back to our scheme being like you said, always switching, always step behind on the rotations, all that kind of stuff. It's just it's stuff that it's gotten better because we've gotten better defensive personnel, but it hasn't necessarily gotten better because our coaching is better.
And the point of bringing up Thibault too is like, yeah, it happens. Even with Thibault, it happens with a bunch of players on this team. Why are we singling out Donovan Klingan?
Get him off the floor.
Yeah, why are we singling out Donovan Klingan, man? It's crazy. A lot of times he doesn't bite on pump fakes because he can like block 3-point shots almost without jumping, so he doesn't have to bite on pump fakes. He just gives a gap. You know what I mean? Taylor, that's funny. Like, Thibault makes defensive plays, and a lot of times he gets into trouble for trying to sell out to try and make those defensive plays. And I've always said this about Thibault. I wish you could just put him on a Jason Tatum and sit there and say, yeah, he slowed down Jason Tatum. Right? But to go back to my earlier point, you got to stop switching into mismatches and then acting like there's nothing you could have done. Mm-hmm. Don't switch. If you give up a bucket because you're trying so hard to not switch, that's better to me because you're trying to play solid defense compared to just lazily switching into mismatches and them scoring over the top of you and then saying, yeah, I mean, that's just a good shot.
Fight through the screens, chase them off the 3-point line, don't switch. Try that strategy against them.
Yeah. Yep. So, just a frustrating game. Oh my goodness, Eric. I'm watching back every made bucket right now, okay?
Yeah.
And did you see the one with 11:09 left? Chat, I highly advise you do this if you want to. Go back and watch these buckets. Second quarter, 11:09 left, Eric. It was Derek White, wide open three. Let me know after you've watched it.
I'm not going to be able to find it very quickly, so.
If you go to their made field goals, it is the 13th one down on NBA.com. Okay. I just yeah. Just give me your react. I just want to know what you think, man. Chat, go watch the play. Let me know what you think as well. Okay.
You said it was a Derek White made three?
Yeah.
I could just look at his. That might be easier.
Yeah, it was 11:09 left. This is like proves my point to the utmost degree. In terms of just switching for no reason. Did you see it?
Yeah, why did he even fought through the screen? Why did he leave?
Yeah, but this is what I'm talking about, man. This is like the stuff I talk about, and then he gets 3 steals in 7 minutes, and then people go on Reddit saying like it's so vindicating because of the Blazers Uprise guys. Like, anyway, yeah. So the play we're talking about, I'll explain it for any of those of you who didn't watch it. It's Thibault fights over a screen well. He's on Derek White. He's on his hip. And Klingan is like about ready to get back to Al Horford, who's popping to the corner. And Thibault, who's on Derek White's hip, just completely leaves him and runs away from him to guard Al Horford in the corner. And Klingan is like, basically, what the hell? Why are you switching to my guy? You were on the ball handler. Right? So but that's an example of like, we fight through a screen, we have Thibault on White, and after fighting through the screen and being on his hip, he just decides to switch to the popping big man for no reason, and we get completely mixed up and give up a wide open three because of it. And then you know what, Eric? That type of play, people
I'll tell you. Yeah.
Blame Klingan.
That's what I was just gonna say. That's Klingan's fault, yeah.
That's literally what it is. If I copy the link and put it in chat, would actually, yeah.
I think it will. Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do.
You can do it, I think.
Yeah. That was doing way more good than bad lately. I mean, I don't even necessarily disagree. I'm just going back and watching plays, and 2 already stand out in like a 3-minute span of being bad.
No, that was been good. We're just pointing out that it's not.
But the problem is like a bunch of people do this, and then Klingan gets blamed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that's the exact type of play.
I can't. It's too long of a link.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of Blazer Uprise, Calabro is getting a whiff of the Blazers Uprising.
He said Blazers Uprising on the show. Shout out to him. Shout out to him for the shout out. All right,
What's up, Kevin?
Here you go. This is what I'm talking about, chat. Just watch the play I linked, man. This is what I'm talking about, where the Blazers just randomly switch for no reason, end up in a mismatch. In a play like this, Klingan will get roasted for not closing out properly and not defending the perimeter, even though this is absolutely not his fault. Okay? So the link I just posted is a perfect example. Okay? Here's the thing. We will always try and back up any of our critiques with examples, with substance. You can argue with the substance if you want, right? But make it about the substance of the argument. Don't make it about these guys just trying to be critical. Because you watch a play like that, I mean, that's a perfect example of how we switch to her easily, in my opinion, and that's a perfect example of the type of play where somebody just sees the result of the play the last couple of seconds and blames Klingan. Taylor Packer, it wasn't a reference to us, but, we're just kind of joking around here. Marv says Celtics players are just too smart. You can't get away with just trying hard. You have to be smart too. I think that's a good explanation for why the Blazers struggle with some of these teams, even when they're missing starters that are well coached. I think that's a perfect. I think that's very sound reasoning in regards to why they lost by 18 to the Thunder when they were missing all 5 starters. So yeah. Anyway.
One more thing I want to talk about in regards to this game.
Yeah.
I know if you think it's because she's a woman, you are gravely mistaken, and it has nothing to do with that. I would say the same thing if this was a male referee, but Natalie Sago has to go, man. Did you see the tweet I tweeted during the game?
Yeah.
So it was an out of bounds off Denny right before the half. The Blazers should have challenged that, by the way. And then there was a couple subs or whatever. And she makes a motion right before she hands Sam Hauser the ball. She kind of goes up and down with it, but it was kind of like you could run the baseline. And no, you cannot run the baseline. That's very simple. You can only run the baseline off a made basket. And she allowed Sam Hauser to take a step and run to the other side of the basket and throw the inbound in. And right in front of her. And that should have been a violation. It should have been our ball. We could have ran out the shot clock. And got the last shot and not gotten that 2 points scored against us before the half. And this is a ref that has come under fire. So I look back at, the game we played the Cavs were tied to Rome, even in a win, which he played really well, called her out specifically. JB Bickerstaff called her out recently in a Pistons game. And then I was just going back through threads on Twitter about how horrible she is and stuff like that. So, like Mount Hood says, sorry. It probably only has a job because she's a female ref, and it would look bad if they fired her or whatever. But man, she's just really bad at her job and messing up a lot, and everyone's complaining about her. And that's just like a basic thing. You can't let a guy run a baseline off an out of bounds. That's
you got to know the rules if you're refereeing at the highest level in the world. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And listen, we got to get to the point where you can critique refs, right, without making it about their gender.
Right.
Okay? You should not critique a ref because of their gender. That makes you an asshole. Yeah. All right?
There's plenty of refs that are female that are good.
Yeah. You should not critique or care about a ref's gender. You should only care about the job that they're doing. Okay? But if they're not doing a good job, you should be able to critique it without other people instantly making it about, oh, you're critiquing it because of their gender. Right? I've critiqued...
Yeah, I called a misogynist for pointing.
Yeah. Because there's always those people where the second... If there's a woman referee, the second you criticize them, it's immediately, oh, it's just because it's a woman. Listen, there are assholes out there that actually criticize female refs because of their gender, and those people are assholes. But, right, if we have to be able to call it what it is with refs. I've critiqued plenty of refs. Eric's critiqued plenty of refs that are men. You know what I mean? Look at the Joey Crawford, Scott Fosters of the world, right? So, there's no special treatment either way. There's no special treatment either way. You should not care about the gender of a ref if you're defending them or critiquing them or watching an NBA game. Just point blank and simple.
There was a ref, I forget who it was, but someone called that recently on a team we were playing. I forget who it was. But someone... Huh?
Was it Ty Jerome?
No. Someone on the other team had an inbounds pass and they moved.
Yeah. Oh, Josh Hart.
Was it Josh Hart? Yeah. against the Knicks. Yeah, and they called it like same thing. He took a couple steps and then he was like, "Oh man, I got caught," like type of thing. But yeah. So there are refs that know the rules and do call that. It's not like like a lane violation that they never call or something, unless you're North Carolina.
Yep. So during that conversation, Eric, I found another clip of a bad closeout. If you want to watch it, this is just a minute after the last one, and the guy was out of position because he went for tried to poke for a steal. Let me know when you've watched the clip.
Yeah.
I
mean,
this is just the stuff I always see, man. And it's like, it frustrates me. It frustrates me. Like, I'm not even searching this out, Eric. I wasn't even ready to critique Thibault's defense at all. But man, it's just like I found 3 clips in his first stint. Short period of time. But like, this is also another example. I'm gonna start doing this where I just clip plays and share them with chat, okay, of stuff that I'm seeing. This is another example of
Klingan's fault, by the way.
Which one? Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, people are going crazy on some motorbikes or something. That's just an example of drop scheme. And then the problem is when the Blazers play super duper drop scheme and Klingan's so far into the paint, if somebody pops, it's almost like they have to switch and they end up in mismatches anyway. But that's the scheme. This clip I just posted, another example of scheme. And people say, look how slow he is closing out. But it's like, look at how much ground he has to make up. And if he leaves earlier, it's a layup at the rim. Right?
Mm.
That's the problem. But then people blame Klingan. Guess what? No NBA center is making up that ground. Because Klingan has to stay engaged with the ball handler until Tumani gets back in front. Now, maybe Tumani can block it from behind, but your job in that scheme as the big man is to drop. The guy fighting through the screen gets back in front of the ball handler, and then you rotate back out to your guy. That is a problem with drop scheme, is it gives up pick and pop threes. Right? That's a problem with it. So I don't really know what Klingan is supposed to do there. Maybe react a little faster. You know? Don't expect to switch, I guess, is the right move there. But that's the problem. When this team gets so switch happy, some players are expecting it and others aren't. And then you get like jumbled. Because if one guy's expecting a switch and that guy doesn't switch, then all of a sudden he's late reacting. And that clip is a perfect example of that play. And the Celtics took advantage of that without Horford. But I do not understand why they won't just try to hedge. Or show a little bit, you know? Just don't get it. Just don't get it. Dude, I'm really loving these examples, Eric. Okay? This next example I'm going to post in chat. I mean, Sharp just dies on a screen as bad as you could possibly die on a screen, and it buys Horford enough time to pop to space and get a 3-point shot off. That's the other problem when you're running drop scheme, is if somebody's trying to fight over the screen and they just completely die on screens, you get stuck in really bad positions. So, but you know, it's all Klingan's fault, I guess. You know, anyway.
Yeah, like One Piece says, it doesn't matter what center we have if the scheme is to drop like that. So That's going to happen. Yep,
it's going to happen. Anyway, I'm good with the stream. We're going to be live tomorrow on our second channel, okay? We're going to have post-game show on Tuesday. That's going to go live a little bit late. I'm going to the game. Okay.
Where they play?
They play the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yep, the Cleveland Cavaliers. So we'll have that post-game. We'll see if the Blazers can beat the Cavs. Hopefully they can. Or if not, hopefully the teams the Blazers are trying to chase in the tank race also win some games so the Blazers can gain some ground there. I'm over the freaking 3 p.m. Sunday start times, but we got a couple more. It's funny how, shout out to those of you who show up for streams on a Sunday evening because a lot of people won't, and I get it. It's a Sunday evening. So we appreciate you. Sorry, I had you muted because the water was very loud.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say it was kind of nice to be done at 7 o'clock. Man.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, it's not even dark yet, and we're done with the post-game show. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Which video had your latest big boards again? I forget which stream it was.
I think it was Monday, the Wizards one.
Yeah, sounds about right. Anyway, they were talking about Tori on radio. Good show. They were talking. Yeah, so I turned on the radio when I left today and heard something about Courtside Monday and good interview or something. I was like, is that about me?
Good job, Tori.
Appreciate it. Thank you. No, that was cool. That was a fun time. Shout out Chris Burkhardt, man. Because he moved that date just to accommodate because it was initially supposed to be last Monday and then the Wizards game got moved out from Tuesday to Monday. But he still wanted to give me the opportunity to come into the studio, hop on the radio, which, is really cool. I really respect that. He's been doing that with a lot of podcasters and stuff. So it's really cool for somebody on the radio side of things in legacy media to respect what people do, fans do, covering their teams with podcasts and stuff and show them some love and give them an opportunity. So, really cool guy. Got to talk to him a bit. Really cool guy. So, it was a really cool experience. And I'm hoping to go back there over the offseason, especially to talk about the draft and that sort of thing. So,
nice. Also, right now, people might not be watching because of the Oregon game. They're
up
21-10.
Oregon's up 21-10.
Looking good early against Arizona. Ole Miss is just blowing out Iowa State. And unfortunately for Iowa State, they don't have a good play from behind team, so this game's probably over, down now 22.
Yeah, they got screwed by injuries.
And the biggest surprise right now, Michigan State down 2 at half to New Mexico.
Yeah. I should have taken... I had a feeling Michigan State was going to be rough.
I mean, they might still win.
Yeah. Let's see. I got the Thunder as 3-point favorites against the Clippers on a little bet slip here. Okay. They are currently up 5. So hopefully the Thunder come through there for me. I have Oregon money line and under 151 points parlay. Am I looking good on the points? Because I'm looking good on Oregon. 26-14, so 40 points in 9 minutes. Not looking good on the points there.
Yeah.
Not looking good on the points there, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah, I went and placed $150 on March Madness round 1, and I've already made like 180, and some of them were Final Four picks and that sort of stuff. So
nice.
Just took one of the slips and put it back in. My first time actually sports betting in Washington because you have to go to the casino. So yeah, I got plenty of slips here, man. But hopefully I can just keep putting back in the money I went off this 150. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
That'll be cool. So yeah, I'm gonna watch the rest of March Madness. It was fun to have the Derek Queen game winner, react to that live. And yeah, we'll see what happens on Tuesday with the Blazers. We'll see if they can get a good win. If they can beat Cleveland, man, that'd be a good win because they're going to be healthy. They're going to have to pick up a really tough win at some point, most likely. We'll see what Phoenix does tomorrow. They play tomorrow. Dallas plays tomorrow. Sacramento plays tomorrow. All games are kind of toss-ups. Phoenix is favored by 3.5. Dallas is favored by 1.5. Sacramento 4.5-point underdogs against Boston. So hopefully the Celtics can beat the Kings.
Yeah,
And
please show up like we did tonight.
Yeah, so we'll know going into Tuesday, man, if the Blazers are still only 2 games back or 3 games back of the 10th seed. They need both Phoenix and Dallas to lose tomorrow to be only 2 games back. If one of them wins, they're 3 games back of 10th. That is the picture. Thank you guys for hanging out. Leave a like on your way out of here. Appreciate you making us a part of your Sunday. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. We're going to have post-game shows after every game. Hopefully it's more than 82 games this year. And the post-game show on Tuesday will be going live a little bit later as I will be traveling back from the game. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. If you're going to go watch March Madness, enjoy that. It's been fun. At least we've gotten closer games in the second round. And the Blazers game today, not as much fun. They just were perpetually behind for the entire second half and could not make it up. The Celtics torched them from the 3-point line once again. Thank goodness we're done playing this team. I always hate when the Blazers play the Celtics. I hate it. Yeah. Anyway, anything else, Eric?
Just thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks to everyone who didn't watch but are watching back later on. And hope everyone has a good day. Hope to see you on all the streams this week. And have a good rest of your Sunday.
Yep, appreciate you guys. We are out of here. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.